The discovery beyond Neptune. Dr. Maya Chen stared at the anomalous readings on her holographic display, pushing a strand of dark hair from her face. Something massive had just appeared at the edge of the solar system, beyond Neptune's orbit. After 5 years as lead researcher at Neptune Outpost, Maya had catalogued countless asteroids, comets, and deep space phenomena, but nothing like this. "Run the scan again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. Her assistant Raj nodded and initiated another deep space scan. "Still there, Doctor. Object dimensions approximately 500 kilometers in length, 150 kilometers in diameter. No heat signature, no radiation. It just appeared." Maya frowned, tapping the holographic display. Objects that large didn't simply materialize out of nowhere. There was only one explanation. It had dropped out of faster-than-light travel, which meant it wasn't natural. It was a ship. "Get me Admiral Hassan," she said, "and prep the Artemis for launch." 24 hours later, Maya stood on the bridge of the Artemis, Earth's most advanced exploratory vessel. Admiral Hassan had authorized an immediate expedition when she'd shown him the scans. The object was simply too large and too anomalous to ignore. "Approaching visual range," announced Captain Emerson, a veteran space pilot with salt and pepper hair and eyes that had seen the furthest reaches of the solar system. The main view screen flickered to life, and a collective gasp went through the bridge crew. The object was sleek despite its enormous size, shaped like an elongated teardrop with smooth, dark gray surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible engines, no weapons arrays, nothing that would identify it as a vessel except its unnatural symmetry. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Eliza Okoro, the team's xenobiologist. "And ancient," added Dr. Toru Yamada, their archaeologist. "Look at the surface patterns. Those aren't random. They're writings or symbols." Maya studied the patterns that swirled across the ship's surface like ghostly fingerprints. "Can we get any readings on its composition?" "That's the strangest part," said Chief Engineer Jackson, a burly man with a thick beard. "Our scanners can't penetrate the hull. Whatever it's made of, it's unlike anything we've encountered before." Captain Emerson turned to Maya. "Your call. Doctor, do we attempt to board?" Maya hesitated only briefly. "We came all this way. Let's find out what secrets this ship holds." The boarding team consisted of Maya, Jackson, Dr. Okoro, and 2 security officers, Lieutenant Singh and Corporal Rodriguez. They approached what appeared to be an entrance, a slight indentation in the otherwise smooth hull. "No obvious way to open it," Jackson observed, running his gloved hand along the surface. Maya approached slowly, drawn by some inexplicable instinct. As she neared the indentation, lines of soft blue light began to trace patterns across the surface. The team stepped back as a section of hull simply dissolved, revealing a corridor beyond. "It recognized you," Okoro said, eyes wide behind her helmet visor. Maya shook her head. "Coincidence? It must have detected our approach." They entered cautiously, their suit lights illuminating the corridor. The interior was as smooth and featureless as the exterior, with the same swirling patterns etched into the walls. As they moved deeper into the ship, lights began to activate automatically, bathing them in a soft blue glow. "The air composition is analyzing as breathable," reported Singh, checking his instruments. "Oxygen, nitrogen, trace elements, similar to Earth's atmosphere." "Keep your helmets on for now," Maya ordered. "We don't know what else might be present." They proceeded deeper into the vessel, discovering vast chambers that could have housed thousands. Some rooms contained what appeared to be hydroponic systems, others had machinery unlike anything human engineers had ever designed. This was a colony ship, Okoro concluded after examining several areas. Designed to sustain life for generations during interstellar travel. In what appeared to be a control center, Jackson studied incomprehensible displays. Nothing seems active besides the lighting and life support. It's like it's in some kind of standby mode. Maya felt drawn to a particular corridor, leading away from the control center. "This way," she said, surprising herself with her certainty. The corridor led to a circular chamber. In the center stood a pillar of swirling blue energy, contained within a crystalline structure. Surrounding it were hundreds of pod-like chambers arranged in concentric circles. "Stasis pods," breathed Okoro, examining the nearest one. "Most are empty, but—" She moved toward one pod that emitted a soft, pulsing light. "This one's occupied." The team gathered around the active pod. Through its translucent surface, they could make out a humanoid figure. It appeared similar to a human in basic shape, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, but its skin had a faint silvery hue, and its features were more angular than those of any human. "An alien," Rodriguez whispered. "An actual alien." Maya felt a strange pressure building behind her eyes as she stared at the being in the pod. Without thinking, she placed her hand on the pod's surface. Immediately, the pressure intensified into a splitting headache and images flashed through her mind. Stars exploding, planets burning, vast armadas of ships pursuing this lone vessel across the void. "Dr. Chen," Singh's concerned voice broke through her vision. She had fallen to her knees, her hand still on the pod. The pod's surface rippled like water, and the creature inside opened its eyes. Large, almond-shaped eyes with irises like liquid silver. The pod opened with a soft hiss. The alien sat up slowly, looking directly at Maya. When it spoke, its voice was melodic, yet somehow understandable. "You have awakened me. After so long, I had almost lost hope." The alien called itself Valen, last surviving member of the Luminar civilization. He, as they came to think of him, explained that he had been in stasis for over 10,000 Earth years, fleeing the destruction of his homeworld. "The Voyager was our last hope," Valen explained as they sat in what appeared to be a meeting chamber. He had insisted they remove their helmets, assuring them the ship's environment was completely safe. "One of 15 world ships we built to preserve our species when we knew our world was doomed." "What happened to your world?" Maya asked, still struggling with the lingering headache that had struck when she first touched Valen's pod. "The Drax Empire happened," Valen said, his silvery eyes darkening. "A militaristic species that conquered much of our galaxy. When they discovered our technology, particularly the helix core that powers the ship, they wanted it for themselves. We refused to share it, knowing they would weaponize it, so they destroyed us." "This helix core," Jackson said, leaning forward with interest. "That blue pillar we saw?" Valen nodded. "It's the heart of the Voyager. It can manipulate matter and energy at the quantum level, creating virtually anything from raw materials. We used it to sustain our civilization during our journey, to build and repair and grow food. In the wrong hands, it could unmake worlds." Maya felt a chill at his words. "And these Drax? They're still out there?" "Yes," Valen said gravely. "And now that the Voyager has awakened from its dormancy, they will come. The core's energy signature is distinctive. They will have detected it the moment your presence activated the ship's systems." "We need to warn Earth," Lieutenant Singh said urgently. As if in answer to his words, Maya's communicator beeped. It was Captain Emerson. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting multiple objects entering the solar system, fast-moving and on direct course for both us and Earth. Whatever this ship is, I think it just attracted company." Maya looked at Valen, whose expression confirmed her fears. "How long do we have?" "Not long," the alien replied. "The Drax have mastered faster-than-light travel far beyond what your species has achieved. They will reach your planet within days, perhaps hours. We need to get back to Earth," Maya decided. "Warn them, prepare defenses." Valen shook his head. "Your defenses will be meaningless against their technology. There is only one way to protect your world." He looked directly at Maya. "The Helix Core, and you." "Me? What do I have to do with any of this? Haven't you wondered why the ship responded to you? Why you could sense where to find me? Why you saw my memories when you touched my pod?" Valen stood and approached her. "Some of your ancestors were Luminar, Dr. Chen, a small group that settled on Earth thousands of years ago, before the Drax found our homeworld. The genetic connection is distant but present, and only someone with Luminar DNA can fully activate the Voyager's defensive systems. Maya stared at him in disbelief. You're saying I'm part alien? I'm saying you may be Earth's only hope against what's coming. Before Maya could process this revelation, the ship trembled slightly. Valen's expression grew urgent. They're here sooner than I expected. We must prepare. On the Artemis's main viewscreen, Captain Emerson watched in horror as black angular ships appeared near Mars' orbit, their hulls gleaming with malevolent purpose. There were dozens of them, each larger than Earth's biggest battleships. One broke from the formation, accelerating toward Earth. The others turned toward Neptune and the Voyager. The first interstellar war involving humanity was about to begin, and Earth didn't even know it yet. Resistance and revelation. General Diane Hayes stood before the United Nations Security Council, her normally composed face tight with tension. On the massive screen behind her, satellite imagery showed the 12 Drax vessels now positioned in Earth orbit. The alien ships appeared 18 hours ago, she explained. They've made no aggressive moves yet, but they've ignored all attempts at communication. The UN Secretary General leaned forward. And you're certain these ships are connected to the object discovered beyond Neptune? According to the Neptune outpost team, yes, Hayes confirmed. Dr. Chen and her expedition have returned with information about both the ship and these visitors. Dr. Chen? Maya Chen stepped to the podium, acutely aware of the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Standing beside her was Valen, causing a ripple of murmurs through the assembly. Despite his roughly humanoid appearance, his silvery skin and ethereal features clearly marked him as non-human. This is Valen, Maya began. Last survivor of a civilization called the Luminar. The ship we discovered, the Voyager, was built by his people as a refuge when their homeworld was destroyed by the Drax Empire, the same species whose ships now orbit our planet. Maya explained what they had learned about the Voyager and its Helix core technology. As she spoke, the largest viewscreen flickered, then displayed the image of a Drax commander. Its face was reptilian with a bony crest, and its eyes were vertical slits of amber. When it spoke, its voice was deep and mechanical, translated through Earth's communication systems. People of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Kral of the Sovereign Drax Empire. We have detected a Luminar world ship in your system. This vessel and its core technology are the property of the Empire. Surrender its coordinates and all information you have gathered. You have 12 Earth hours to comply, or we will extract the information ourselves. Resistance will result in the eradication of your major population centers. The screen went dark, leaving stunned silence in its wake. Can they do that? Asked the French representative. Destroy our cities? Valen stepped forward. The Drax do not make idle threats. Their ships carry weapons that can reduce your largest cities to ash in moments. They destroyed my homeworld in less than a day. Then we have no choice but to comply, suggested the Russian delegate. If you give them the Voyager, they will still destroy your world, Valen countered. The Drax leave no potential threats alive. Once they have what they want, they will eliminate your species to prevent any future challenge to their power. General Hayes faced the council squarely. We're preparing a military response, but frankly our technology is outmatched. However, Dr. Chen and Valen believe there may be another option. Maya took a deep breath. The Voyager's defensive systems could potentially repel the Drax fleet, but they require specific genetic markers to activate Luminar DNA. According to Valen, some Luminar settled on Earth thousands of years ago. Their descendants carry traces of their DNA, which can interface with the ship's systems. And you believe you possess this DNA, Dr. Chen? Asked the Secretary General. Tests confirm it, Maya replied. I'm not the only one. There may be thousands of humans with sufficient Luminar heritage, but I'm the only confirmed carrier with knowledge of the Voyager. So what exactly are you proposing? The British representative inquired. A two-pronged approach, General Hayes answered. First, a diversionary attack against the Drax fleet to buy time. Meanwhile, a special team returns to the Voyager with Dr. Chen to activate its defensive systems before the Drax can capture it. This is madness, objected another delegate. Risking everything on ancient alien technology we barely understand? If you have a better suggestion, I'm listening, Hayes replied grimly. After heated debate, the council authorized the plan. Humanity had 12 hours to prepare for its first interstellar war. As the deadline approached, Earth's combined military forces prepared for the diversionary attack. Every operational spacecraft was armed and ready, though all knew they stood little chance against the advanced Drax vessels. Maya, Valen, and a team of Special Forces soldiers boarded the Artemis, which had been retrofitted with experimental shield technology based on Valen's specifications. Captain Emerson would pilot them back to the Voyager while Earth's forces engaged the Drax fleet. The Drax will have sent ships to secure the Voyager as well, Valen warned as they prepared for departure. We'll have to fight our way through. Maya checked the strange device Valen had constructed for her, a gauntlet that would help her interface with the Voyager's systems. I still don't understand exactly what I'm supposed to do once we reach the Helix core. Your DNA will allow access, but your mind will guide the process, Valen explained. The core responds to thought and intent. You must visualize what you want it to do. Create a weapon against the Drax? Maya asked uncomfortably. Valen shook his head. The core was never meant for destruction. Think of it as creation's counterpoint to their destruction. It can generate a barrier that their weapons cannot penetrate, and it can disable their technology without harming them. The Artemis launched under cover of darkness, using stealth technology to slip past Earth's orbital defenses. As they accelerated toward Neptune, they received word that the Drax ultimatum had expired, and the attack on Earth had begun. General Hayes's voice came through their communication system. The diversionary attack is underway. Drax ships are engaging our forces in Earth orbit. Multiple metropolitan areas reporting energy weapon strikes. Civilian casualties. Significant. Maya closed her eyes briefly, thinking of the millions below who were now experiencing the same horror that had destroyed Valen's civilization. We won't fail them, she promised quietly. The Artemis approached the Voyager's last known position to find 3 Drax vessels already surrounding the ancient ship. Captain Emerson used the asteroid field as cover, slipping the Artemis between the massive rocks. We need to dock at the main entrance, Valen instructed. The same place we entered before. Those Drax ships will detect us the moment we break. Cover, Emerson warned. Then we'll have to be quick, replied Commander Reyes, leader of the Special Forces team. We go in hot, establish a perimeter, and get Dr. Chen to the core chamber. The Artemis burst from the asteroid field at maximum acceleration, its experimental shields flaring as Drax energy weapons immediately targeted them. Captain Emerson's skilled piloting brought them alongside the Voyager's massive hull, just long enough for the boarding team to deploy through the airlock. We'll hold them off as long as we can, Emerson promised, as the hatch sealed behind them. The Artemis pulled away, drawing Drax fire as it weaved between the enemy vessels. Maya, Valen, Commander Reyes, and 5 soldiers made their way through the Voyager's corridors, which now pulsed with red warning lights. The ship senses the Drax presence, Valen explained. It's in defensive lockdown. They encountered the first Drax soldiers at a junction leading to the ship's central sector. The reptilian aliens wore black armor that seemed to absorb light, and carried weapons that fired bursts of green energy. Take cover, shouted Reyes as green bolts sizzled past them. The human soldiers returned fire, their advanced projectile weapons proving surprisingly effective against the Drax armor at close range. We need another route to the core, Maya shouted to Valen over the sound of gunfire. Valen nodded and led her to a seemingly solid wall. He pressed his hand to a specific pattern in the swirling designs, and a hidden passage opened. Maintenance tunnels. The Drax won't know about these. They slipped away with 2 soldiers while Reyes and the others continued the firefight as a distraction. Through narrow passages they hurried, the sounds of battle fading behind them. Maya's communicator crackled with General Hayes's voice. Earth defenses failing. Major cities Tokyo, New York, and Cairo have sustained direct hits. Millions of casualties reported. Dr. Chen, whatever you're going to do it now. They emerged into the chamber containing the Helix core, only to find 2 Drax soldiers already there, examining the swirling blue energy pillar. The human soldiers moved silently, neutralizing the Dracs before they could raise an alarm. Maya approached the core, feeling the now familiar pressure building behind her eyes. What now? Place your hand on the interface panel, Valen instructed, indicating a crystalline pedestal near the core. Open your mind to it. Feel the connection. Maya removed her glove and placed her palm on the smooth, cool surface. Immediately, her mind filled with light and sound, not painful this time, but overwhelming in its vastness. She sensed the entire ship as if it were an extension of her own body. Every system, every circuit, every atom seemed connected to her consciousness. I can feel it, she whispered. So much power. Focus on the Drax ships, Valen urged. Visualize, their weapons and engines shutting down. Imagine a barrier protecting Earth. Maya concentrated, picturing the Drax fleet suddenly paralyzed, their weapons powerless. She imagined a shimmering shield enveloping Earth, turning aside the destructive energy of the Drax weapons. The core's blue light intensified, spreading through the chamber and racing along the corridors of the ship. Outside, the Voyager's hull began to glow with the same azure radiance. On the bridge of his flagship, Supreme Commander Krall watched in horror as his weapon systems went offline. One by one, each ship in his fleet reported total power failure. Back on Earth, General Hayes stared at her tactical display as the incoming Drax attack suddenly ceased. The enemy ships hung motionless in orbit, dark and powerless. Within the Voyager, Maya could sense everything happening around the solar system through the ship's vast sensor array. She could feel the disabled Drax ships, the damaged but surviving Earth, and something else. Other Voyager ships, dormant like this one had been, scattered throughout the galaxy. There are more, she gasped. More world ships, more survivors. Yes, Valen confirmed. The 15 ships scattered in different directions. If one still exists, others might too, Maya finished. She turned to Valen, her eyes glowing slightly with the core's energy. We can find them. Unite them. Maya's communicator came to life again. Dr. Chen, this is General Hayes. The Drax fleet has been neutralized. What did you do? We shut down their technology, Maya replied. Temporarily. We need to talk to them now, while we have leverage. Hours later, Supreme Commander Krall stood before the United Nations Security Council. His proud bearing diminished but not broken. Maya and Valen stood opposite him. The terms are simple, Maya stated. The Drax Empire will recognize Earth and its solar system as sovereign territory, off limits to imperial expansion. In return, we will restore power to your ships and allow you to return home. And if we refuse? Krall hissed. Then your ships remain disabled, Valen answered, and we activate the distress beacons to call the other world ships. Together, our defensive capabilities would be enough to challenge even the Drax Empire. Krall's vertical pupils narrowed. You have won this battle, humans. But the Empire spans thousands of systems. This is not over. Perhaps not, acknowledged the Secretary General. But today, humanity has shown that we will defend ourselves and our allies against any threat, no matter how advanced. After the Drax delegation departed, Maya stood with Valen at a viewport, watching Earth rotate below them. The damage from the brief attack was visible as dark scars on the planet's surface, but the majority of humanity had survived. What happens now? She asked. Now, Valen replied. We begin the real work, finding the other world ships, learning to use the Helix core responsibly, preparing for the day when the Drax return in greater numbers. And your people? The Luminar? Valen smiled, his silver eyes reflecting the starlight. My people never truly died out. They live on in you, in others like you. And perhaps when we find the other ships, we'll discover more full-blooded survivors. Maya looked out at the stars, thinking of the vastness of space and the ancient civilizations that had traversed it long before humans had even dreamed of flight. We're not alone anymore, she said. For better or worse? For better, I think, Valen replied. Your species reminds me of mine in many ways. Curious, resilient, determined. Together, perhaps we can build something the Drax and their empire could never understand. What's that? A civilization based on creation rather than conquest, on exploration rather than exploitation. He turned to her. The journey will be dangerous. Maya smiled. The best ones always are. Above them, the stars seemed brighter somehow, as if welcoming humanity to a larger universe, one filled with both peril and promise in equal measure. The Voyager orbited silently nearby, its ancient systems humming with renewed purpose, ready for whatever challenges the cosmos might bring next.